Iniciando. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar for the S Factory application process. We're very excited at Startup Chile to be starting this process today. We will see a few things about the application form, general requirements for the program, what is it that we're actually looking for, who can apply. We're going to wait a little bit for more people to log in. We have been receiving questions. In the meantime, for the ones that want to do questions, our hashtag is SUPWebinar. Yes, you could do all your questions through our Twitter account, and we'll try to respond them here as soon as possible. If not, we always have a contact email where you can send all the questions, and our marketing and communications team are responding it every single day. We're very fast at it, so please send us there. It's the fastest way to get a response in our different programs. Okay, so we have a few viewers more this time. So I'm going to start talking a little bit about what is Startup Chile, how we create this program, what is the S Factory, because it has different names, and we'll move forward into the application question specific. So first of all, what is it, Startup Chile? For the ones that do not know about it, we've been around for more than 6 years, 7 I would say actually, almost 7. And it's a program created in 2010 from the Chilean government in order to boost the entrepreneurship ecosystem in Chile and so that we can have more entrepreneurs globally minded, thinking that they can create products from Chile and then to expand globally. We have had since then on our main core program, we've had 17 generations. Currently, we have the 17th generation going on since February. And in 2015, we created 2 different programs. And one of them is the S Factory. So the main program, the Startup Chile main program, was then called SEED. That's the core program that we have. It's the biggest one in terms of the startups that we select. But we do have the S Factory on one side, and we also have the Scale program on the other, which we also have applications open. The difference in between the 3 of them is that the S Factory is a pre-acceleration program, is for very early stage startups. The SEED program is for startups that somehow have validated their market hypothesis, their solution hypothesis. And the Scale program is for companies, incorporated ones in Chile, that would like to expand their operations outside of the country, and therefore they need a little bit more funding to do so. So the S Factory started with the sole purpose into giving more diversity on the teams that we had in Startup Chile SEED program. We had around 10 to 15% of the teams led by women, which we thought it was not representative of the talent that it was out there. So we thought into creating something to raise this number. That's why we created this factory, but as an earlier stage than the SEED program, so that we can have more entrepreneurs getting into more competitive stage in early stage in startups and then move on into the SEED program, and hopefully the ones that get operations in Chile and have significant results, they can move on to the Scale program. That's how the program was conceived. And also at Startup Chile, we have a big mission into helping the environment, the ecosystem in Chile grow. And we use our entrepreneurs, or our entrepreneurs now offer to do so, by organizing different events, hackathons, or mentoring local entrepreneurs. But we have very few women doing so. So we understood it was important to create this role model so that more entrepreneurs, especially female entrepreneurs in Chile, could feel identified and move on to the entrepreneurship career, therefore. The program, the S Factory program, contemplates mainly funding, mentoring, and the different connections that the Startup Chile program has in overall. We also have different perks. So let's go one-on-one. In terms of the funding, we give $15,000 equity-free funding. Okay, it's completely yours. It's your idea. It's your company. We don't take a cut on it. And $15,000 is 10 million pesos approximately, depends on the currency exchange. On the side of the mentoring, we allocate one mentor, at least one mentor to every founder. And our mentors that have been into the entrepreneurship career, but not long ago, because we understand that it's very important to feel related to the small questions or doubts that you have when you're getting started. And sometimes people that have been far along in the entrepreneurship career, they don't relate that much. Therefore, we only connect as a specific mentor to the founder, someone who is an entrepreneur and has set a company 2, 3, 4 years ago, not somebody that was an entrepreneur, I don't know, a decade ago. And on the other side, the connection, the Startup Chile community is huge, which we have supported more than 1,300 startups so far. That means more than 3,000, even more than 4,000 entrepreneurs from more than 70 countries. We understand that this is a program tailored for female-led startups, but we need to connect them with the entire environment. So there are a lot of different activities that are shared with the seed program and with the scale program. For example, the training, or in terms of business, in terms of product, but also the pitch training. We would like our founders to see different perspectives. Even though they're a very early stage, it's good to see how other startups and other founders are doing further on. And also at Startup Chile, we have a lot of great perks. We have perks in hosting, 3D printing, lawyers, accounting, so many things. And really, you can save up to $200,000 in only perks if you use all of them. Most of our entrepreneurs use it. We have big companies such as Amazon, for example, and Microsoft helping us deliver this. But if you get into the program, you will see the many benefits that this program has. And also the Prestige is a program well known around the world. Most people in the entrepreneurship environment in every country knows about Startup Chile. So it's a good sign if you have been from this program. We also have a team as an acceleration team that help you define the business model. We're very open to help our founders, even though we don't have time to tailor a specific program for each. But since our connections are so broad, we can help them connect with the right people that can help them grow their businesses. In terms of Yes Factory, you might be wondering how many startups actually get into the seed program. So to give you an example, in our last batch in the seed program, which is the Generation 17, we got the biggest amount of startups that are led by women. And 10% of all the startups that we selected for the seed program, which we selected 100, 10% are the Yes Factory alumni. That is a big amount, and we are growing a number of female-led startups since we created this program, which we're very happy for it because we validated our hypothesis, and the program, we could say, is actually a success. What do we look for? We look for female-led startups. That isn't necessarily that the entire team must be women. We actually believe in diversity, so only closing for teams that are conformed only by women would be against what we believe. So we accept teams that have at least one female founder, and that founder is the one that participates in the program and the one that applies as a beneficiary, okay? Make sure that in the application form, your co-founder, or if you are the founder as a woman, you're applying, make sure you are there as a team lead. Unfortunately, we have had a few guys there, and as our requirements know, the team lead is the one that needs to be a woman, and therefore she needs to apply as so, okay? Teams can be conformed by one solo founder, or could be 2 people. We understand that in reality they might have like 3 or 4 or even maybe 5, even though it's not something that we recommend. It's too big of a team to a startup. But still, we understand that only for the application, it's only 2 people. And in reality, we can, once we're in the program, we see ways on how to adjust the different activities and budget for those people that are also working on the startup, and maybe they take a big stake onto the company. Globally minded startups, we believe in high impact, even though we appreciate the ones that apply with smaller impact ideas. It's good, but it's not our focus. So we believe in companies that could create a big impact in a short amount of time. Most of the time that is related to technology. And why is that? It's kind of obvious, because technology allows you to have to replicate a business model in different markets. And therefore you need a big amount of investment at the beginning, but then you can leverage on that investment, and you can have growing curves, and you can scale actually the company. That's what we're looking for. It's not necessarily creating technology, but most of the time using technology as a means to reach other markets and obviously to scale. Of course, one female founder, that is a woman, we need that. Mixed teams, yes, we accept teams that are a mixture between men and women. We actually encourage to do so. We've had families, for example, entire families applying to the program, which is great. We are also looking, of course, for innovative solutions. What innovation means new levels of customer satisfaction, whatever and however you do that in different industries. We're not specific to an industry in particular, even though we of course follow the trends of the market. If the best startups, so for example, and the trend, if the best startups are in a trend that is in the market out there, of course there's likelihood to fit in. We did some changes in the application form in terms of the criteria that we require. We have more weight into the founder itself, this woman that is leading or co-founding this team. We took a bigger stake on that regarding to the team. Why is that? Because we have received so many talented women, and believe me, they're like beyond smart, or beyond, like, even smarter than us. They're amazing women. Some of the founders that are watching me right now can say, I say hi to everyone. So we believe that sometimes you have a lot of talent, but you don't necessarily have the team, especially when you're just getting started. We at TSF accept startups that are in idea stage. You don't have to have anything developed yet, or a prototype that has at the most 6 months of development. If you're far from that, maybe you'll be better suited for a seed program, which is for like mid-stage startups. And well, and since it's difficult to have a full team at the beginning, we understand that we need to see the value on this founder, and therefore it needs to be evaluated with a higher weight. That's why we have changed it a little bit. Also, our program is for 4 months, 4 months of acceleration and 4 months to have expenses allocated to your company, to your project. Also, we're going to check a little bit about what are the other 2 criteria. So I said team and I said founder. You can see in our terms and conditions the different weights. It's 15% and 35%, but we also evaluate the market and the product itself. I received a lot of questions into how I can draft the problem with the solution, how is it evaluated. So when you're at a very early stage, the most important thing is to find that there's a market out there, and if there's a market, it is because that there's a problem to be solved. The solution, we understand that it's going to pivot many times as long as you're advancing in your project. So we don't take much account into it as long as we see that there's a need in the market and it's an interesting one. Make sure that you define the market well, that you make some segmentation, talk to people that can help you develop this, or make the good questions in order to define it in the best way possible, within the best chances. So if you have the right team and the right market to do so, eventually you'll find the best solution for it and solve a really big problem that is out there in the world at the moment. Other questions that I have received are in terms of the video. Please don't spend any money on doing a video. As you can see, ours is like extremely simple. This is what we expect. Take your computer, make sure the camera is working, make sure the mic is working, and just be yourself and talk to us about your startup and talk to us about your team. If you don't have your team with you, imagine yourself living in one country and your co-founder living in another one. You could do like video calls and record and attach both things. But the video, it must be simple. Same thing as the application form, must explain the experience of the team, the experience of the founder, and how it's relevant for this particular startup, and also why the problem is relevant to the specific market that you're tackling. Another question that we receive is the founder, so for example, apply with my name as a founder, and once I get into the program, I realized that I'm not able to travel to Chile, or in the case if you're already in Chile, to stay in Chile for the program. Can I change the founder or the team leader that was applied as so in the application form? And the answer is no. We are government entities, so processes are very strict. So if you apply with someone as a team lead, that is the one that is going to stick to it for the entire period of the program, and it cannot change. So if you are not able to come to the country or to stay in the country for the entire period, I'm sorry, but you'll have to see maybe applying a different generation, but there's no way that we can change this. So we received some questions here. I'm gonna go through them quickly. So if I participated in the SEED program, in the Startup Chile SEED program, can I apply to the S Factory? The answer is yes. We don't have a specific requirement to that. And we do understand that founding teams do get a learning. There's a learning curve into working in startups, even if you're a founder or maybe you're an early employee. So we won't cut that opportunity from you. Of course, it has to be with a different company. It makes no sense to like going back to a program that is in an early stage than the one that you participated already. Projects that cannot apply, since I told you that we're looking for scalable companies, mostly tech related, the ones that cannot apply are consulting firms. Why? Because they're very HR heavy. That means that they're not highly scalable unless you have a big amount of people working on it. So therefore, we don't consider them scalable. We also don't consider import-export companies. That means if you just import good from other country and you bring it here, for example. No, that would not be necessarily a startup. If you create a solution for that type of process, that's a different thing. It's in the type of business that you do, not necessarily the industry in particular. So for example, consulting, maybe you have a platform which enables like high-end consulting to reach startups. That's great, but not doing consulting yourself. And franchises, why? Because it's not a new company, it's not an entrepreneurship endeavor. It's just another company setting operations in a different country. And since we're very, very, very early stage idea, hey, that's Facio. Oh, she's the executive director of Startup Chile.
Hey guys.
Okay. She's just excited to be here. Was it what I was saying? Oh, okay. So, well, franchises, no. So consulting, import, export, and franchises, no way that there's a chance to be in the S Factory. If you want to work in those arenas, be creative and trying to make a scalable solution that would be attractive for our process. Other questions are regarding the visa. Yes, we offer a 1-year working visa. It's a temporary residence visa. There's a possibility that you can extend it if you stay in the country for longer, and it's also applicable for family members that come with you. So if you have your significant other coming with you, or children, or whatever family-related people, they're applicable for this visa, okay, for them to work in the country and also stay with you while you develop this endeavor. The timeline, it's in the Startup Chile website, but I have here, you can see it. Okay, it's not very easy to see, but we're having the first Q&A, the first webinar Q&A today, but we're having another one on the 27th, one day before we close the application process. We close on the 28th at 5 p.m. And we have different evaluation stages, and the final results will be given out on April 21st, okay? You'll receive an email whether you got into the program or you didn't. In the case you did get into the program, for the foreign participants, we'll start the landing process with your visas. In case you didn't get it, you receive a reason for rejection, which is very standardized. But anyway, you'll receive an email in case you got into the program or not. Also, if you want to check this webinar, you can do it again. It's on our YouTube channel, so you can see all the different questions that we have been talking about. And if you have any questions, you can write directly to our email. It's contact@startupchile.org. Communications and marketing team, as I just explained, they revise every single question every day, and they make it as fast as possible to help you. Remember, guys, we're receiving questions in our hashtag sub-webinar, and I'm going to go with a few ones in here. So, Romina Diaz, thank you for being with us today. So your question is if you can apply with an idea or you need to demonstrate a prototype. You can apply with either both. If you do have a prototype, it's nice to find a way to attach it. If you have a URL, website, build on, even if it's a landing page, it helps the evaluator get a sense of what you're trying to build. If you just have an idea, make sure that your message is very cohesive and it's very straight to the point so that the people actually understand what it is. Sometimes it's difficult to understand abstract ideas, so make sure it's easy for the evaluators to check on it. We also have Marcelo Tear. So Marcelo is asking about the English. It is, I would say, is a must, but it's not a requirement. We don't evaluate the level of English of people. We do appreciate the ones that have difficulties with it, but also demonstrate a willingness to improve and to learn. But the entire program is in English. English is a good tool, so if you're thinking that you have good chances to get into the program, well, start practicing your English, because we have a lot of different connections, and this is a very international program, so you can miss a lot if you don't have if you're not that fluent in English. So make sure you at least have someone in your team that is fluent that can help you with, or if you get into the program, you can have someone that could go with you to meetings or mentorings, etc., so that that person can help you out with the English. As for the application itself, it is not a requirement, but it's highly recommendable because we have evaluators from all over the world. And of course, it's easier for them if it's in English because there's no discrimination in terms of nationality for them. Also, there's a question regarding if the team is considered more important than the idea. As you will see in the criteria from the terms and conditions, you see that the weight is the same. So you have on the one side 50% product and market, and on the other side you have founding team and founder, 50% as well. So you have a very, very balanced. The generation 5, and here is Maiva Pham. Thank you for watching us today. So Generation 5 starts early in June and goes on until the end of September. Okay, that depends. As you might have seen in the terms and conditions, there's a possibility on extension for high-performing teams, but there's no safety that any team that will get it. It's something that is evaluated on progress and likelihood of having an investment or actually reaching the market. The S Factory is a program that aims to have a problem solution fit rather than a market solution fit, but we still see the potential into getting a market fit throughout the program so that you can get an extension and be benefited of more time, of acceleration process, and also more funding. But all of these, you can find it on our terms and conditions. I invite you to check the different criteria to be selected as so. We also have another question from Mayla. So she said, I've already applied to Generation 18 of Seed. What happens if I get accepted into both? Well, the thing is that in reality, you shouldn't be accepted into both because at a different stage. If you get accepted into Seed, that means you're in a mid stage, and therefore you're too advanced for the S Factory, as well as if you got accepted into the S Factory, you're very early stage, and the Seed program shouldn't be in the right fit for you. So there's no problem into applying to both of them. I understand that sometimes it's difficult to understand what type of startups we have in one program and what type do we have in the other. But in reality, it's most likely that it wouldn't be there. For the ones that are in Chile or that will be in Chile next week, we're going to have a meetup that's going to take place on the 21st at 6:30 p.m. in Setov. It's located in Providencia Street 229, and that's our co-working space. I'll be doing the meetup myself, and we'll be responding different questions. As I mentioned, we also have another webinar on the 27th. A word of advice: don't wait until the 28th at 5 p.m. to submit your application. When everything can go wrong, it will go wrong. Your internet connection may crash, or your recommender may not answer at time. So make sure you have everything ready by that time, and just use the Q&A for small questions so you can submit that form by that day. We always receive tons of emails of people that couldn't make it to the deadline. I'm sorry, but we're very strict to our deadline, so the answer would be no. Okay. I think we answered all the questions. Oh, okay. I see another one's here. So, La Panqueque, hello. Nice name, by the way. So, her question is, what is the difference between public description and target market in the application form? So, public description basically describes what your solution is intended to do to a specific problem. In terms of target market, you should consider who are the people or the companies, for it might be a B2B business model, business to business business model. Who are the ones benefiting from that solution? Who are the ones that have the problem at the moment? That is the target market. If you feel the need to be as specific as possible, that's great. In that way, we can actually understand that is a real problem and that people would be likely to buy a solution for it. It's not necessarily like a nice to have, but it's a must to have for that market. And that, of course, means that there's some business opportunity out there that nobody's tackling at the moment. We also have another question. Would you like to tell us how many projects will be selected? That's a great question. Usually we select in between 25 to 30 startups. And since our application process has a time difference when the program will get started in June, we at the end have 25 startups participating. For general reasons, you might be applying to other accelerators and you got, I don't know, the acceptance before this one's, and we understand. That's okay with it. But usually it's in between 25 to 30. We also have a question from Khan Lutfi Kagler. Sorry if I pronounced it I'm not used to that pronunciation, but I hope I did it well. So your question is, how many co-founders are allowed in the application form? On the application form, 2, but you also can apply with 1. If you're a solo founder, you can apply as yourself. Even though you might have a team bigger than 2, in the application form, you only consider 2. When the experience of, or what is the skill set that the team combines and the experience that they have toward the startup, then you can name all the different people, their experience, and the role that they have inside of the company. If it's in charge of marketing or business development, it's good for us to give a clear idea of who are the people working on this and what is the focus on the company taking place. We also have another question from Romina. So the question is, can I apply with something sold through a technology platform? That the idea includes a technological platform. So yes, you can apply with that. At the end, innovation, as I mentioned, is new levels of customer satisfaction. Sometimes that is enabled by technologies that are already existing, and you created a way of using those technologies, a new way of using them, and therefore it's innovative and gives new levels of customer satisfaction. So yes, of course, if it's just a matter of getting online and buying something and bring it and import it, that's not very innovative, and that goes into the category of import experts. But if you use existing platforms in a different way and you combine them, that's totally fine. We also have a lot of different startups that use, there are a combination of tools that are not really communicating well, and they created a better solution on top of them for them to connect. So yes, you could do so. We have another question from Purnima Murthy. Hi, Purnima. She's asking, my other team member passport is under process. Can we update the passport once we get it? As the application terms and conditions explain, you can put the document that says like passport pending. You can include that as part of your document for the application. Well, I think, guys, do you have any more questions? I know it's been a bit long, but I wanted to go through every single question that you guys have. Remember to send all your questions to the contact@startupchile.org. Don't send it at the last moment. And there's a good advice here. Try to send the questions in one email. You might have like 7. Don't send 7 different emails. Send one email for the team to be more efficient into responding to it. And give us as much information as possible so that they can understand your need and can respond in a better way. I think that would be it. We are out of time, but Again, you can continue using this if you would like. The team is also doing is checking our different social networks. And remember, the 27th we have a second Q&A live, just the same as this one. And on the 21st, we're going to have a meetup in our co-working space. So I invite you all, invite your friends. And remember, this is a program for teams that have at least one woman on the team. So yes, mixed gender teams are okay. So guys out there, if you have co-founders that are women, encourage them or encourage the entire team to apply as so. Well, thank you very much for your time. I hope it was useful, and hope to see you all once we have the results and once we're starting the program in June. Well, take care. Bye.